I did want to take the opportunity to focus in on one of the aldermen who has made it clear she will not be seeking reelection and instead is going to try to run for mayor against Lori Lightfoot. Alderman Sophia King, who's a person that I'm not really crazy familiar with, but I know she leads a progressive caucus here in Chicago. And so she definitely has been fighting for progressive policies regarding, minimum wage and various issues regarding policing in the city, equity, things of that nature. So, a lot of stuff that I like to hear, but at the same time, do I feel like she actually has a chance against Lightfoot? That's a very good question, Hudson. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think a little bit about Sophia King. She's the fourth ward alderman, right? And if you look at that fourth ward map, which I'm gonna put a link to it in the description for people to see, that fourth ward map is crazy. That fourth ward map is just insane with the demographics of the population that exist within that ward. That ward stretches from like North Kenwood all the way to Hyde Park. So it's
Mm,
covering areas where it's white people, Hispanic people, areas with richer people, more well-to-do people, poor people. It's crazy how diverse her ward is, which almost makes her the perfect candidate to to
mm,
kind of run this city with how diverse and how segregated this city is. Her ward is highly segregated,
mhm.
with what's going on. Um, so I definitely don't have any reservations on that. Now, does she have a chance to beat Lightfoot? I think the problem stems from is that she does not have an extensive background of holding office, which to me is not a bad thing. I think that helps in the fact that the person actually running for the top spot in this city is actually a person of the people and more a little bit more down to earth. I think when you're a lifetime politician, I think that to me, for me, that goes against you. Right? That's a check against you because
Mhm.
that just says to me status
You've
quo.
been a part of the problem.
Yeah, right. Right. You can't sit here and say I've been, that was part of my problem, even though I thought Biden was the best choice for president against the other guy.
Mhm,
That's part of my problem was with Biden being there, is that, he's at what point do you say you're part of the problem when
mhm.
the country's been in the toilet for I don't know how long, right? But now you come along, you're going to be the one to to
Make
bring it
everything
out.
better.
You know, Trump wasn't the one that made everything bad. Like he
Mhm.
highlighted a bunch of bad things.
Right.
It was already there.
R
Trump just,
brought it to the surface.
he just helped to bring more of it to the surface. That's all he did. But that's
Mhm.
how Trump won. That's how
Yeah.
Trump won as the guy who's not been a part of the system,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
I mean,
He was
frankly,
able
that's
to,
how Lightfoot won.
so in that respect, with I think what's going to hurt Sophia King is, and to make clear, her platform's not out there yet. She just made the announcement maybe a couple weeks ago, a few weeks ago, I believe. I can't quite remember. But she does not have a plan up and running yet as far as what her platform is and how she's going to address the concerns of the city. So I don't know, but I have a feeling that whatever she comes up with safety wise, I just don't think people are going to like it.
Mhm.
I think even those who tout themselves as being, liberal and wanting to see a different type of police department are going to balk at it.
Mhm.
And I think partially it's going to be because this whole crime is out of control angle is going to be pushed hard. And so whoever is put in office is likely going to be considered the best person to take care of that. Right. So we reviewed Frederick Collins last week, right? Um, you could probably consider him the person who's going to be trying to knock heads out there. He's probably going to give the police just carte blanche to do whatever they want, right?
Hmm.
But I don't think anybody really wants that, at least not to that extreme, right? They're going to want someone kind of in the middle. And I don't think Sophia King fits that. I don't think she will. So I think that's going to be very tough on her to to uh to to kick Lori Lightfoot out of office on this.
So I would have to agree with you. I think especially white folks here, and more so the state. It's kind of hard. You have to differentiate between white folks in Illinois and white folks in Chicago because they're very very different. Like white folks in Illinois can't stand Kim Fox,
Mm,
but at the same time, Kim Fox has been able to keep her job, which says
mhm,
that white folks in Chicago are cool with her, at
mm,
least some of them. So I think it's I think it'll be interesting to see what is the reaction to people regarding crime here in the city. Because I think the sentiment is so strong against Lightfoot overall that even though she is technically more pro police and tough on the crime, I don't think it helps her. So I agree that it's a weak point of Sophia King, but not with Lightfoot, because I think Lightfoot is so disliked that it doesn't really matter. But it could be an issue with other candidates that are running that are considered stronger possibilities because they are going to be tougher on crime. That's going to be something interesting to see. Um, Alderman Jason Irvin made comments saying that essentially Sophia King was going to split up the black vote and that there were too many black people running, which first and foremost for the brother who leads the black caucus
mm.
to publicly say that
There's
hey,
too many black
there's
candidates.
too many black folks running for mayor. Y'all should all
Mm,
just fall back and let Lightfoot hold it. That's crazy in and of itself.
crazy talk.
The fact that the leader of the Black Caucus is essentially Lori Lightfoot's water boy is also insane to me. Insane. Lightfoot, who has done zero, zilch for the Black community, gets the full throated support of our Black caucus, has done nothing for us. And that in and of itself tells you everything you need to know about the state of Chicago and the state of the Black community in Chicago. Now, I do feel like, well, yeah, I'll take it back. I do see his point, right? That Lightfoot basically came in on a wave of support from, white liberals and black women. Black women were huge supporters of her. I don't think Sophia King is the one who's taking that support away. I think Lightfoot did that herself when she had that sister standing up naked around all those police officers and didn't punish those police officers properly.
Mhm.
I think that did a lot of damage to her reputation among black women in the city. Black men already didn't get down with her for a multitude of reasons. I voted for Lightfoot, but now after seeing the decisions she's made, I'm not with her. So, she didn't have black men to begin with. But I think her decision making has lost her a lot of support among black women. That being said, there is definitely still a strong corner of black women in the city who just want to see a sister in the position. And despite any issues they have with Lightfoot's decision making, they're just going to vote for her because, hey, I'm tired of seeing old white men being able to step into this role and stomp all over the black community. If somebody's going to be stomping all over the community, I'd rather it be a black woman. I don't know how big that quadrant is, though. I don't think it's really enough. It's certainly not enough to make a real impact in this election. So for Alderman Jason to step out publicly and make this comment about Sophia King, and he's essentially almost saying that because of your skin color, you owe it to Lightfoot to stay out of the race. It's just wild to me. It's just crazy wild to me and shows you the state of our politics.
I'm gonna say this, and it's tough for me to say. I don't want to believe it. I really don't. But you when they elected Lori Lightfoot, they elected a black woman, a lesbian woman. So let me say they voted in a woman,
Hmm.
they voted in a lesbian,
Hmm.
they voted in a black person,
Hmm.
right? So now we have seen when folk in this country, you know, vote in what they feel to be extreme, what they feel to be extreme
Hmm.
inclusiveness. We saw it with Obama.
Hmm.
They feel a need to go so far to the other end,
Hmm.
right? So my fear is that, and not because there's too many black people running, not because of that. I don't think that's going to be it at all. Because the herd is going to thin,
Hmm.
right? We're going to see just like uh, uh, candidates are going to fall out, and they're going to go and put their endorsement into other candidates that remain. Right? It happens every time. I think it's going to happen this time. So the herd is going to thin, right? So it's not going to be the amount it is now today. But you know, my fear is that we go and they find some Trump like dude, at least the Chicago version, because, we don't go full Republican. We just go,
Yeah.
that, that, that them publicans, that's what I call them. we,
Hmm.
we go that route, those Republicans who try to act like that they're Democrats. So
See,
that's my fear here.
I'm not worried about that. And the reason why I'm not worried about that is that Kim Fox won re-election. And I'd argue Kim Fox way more hated than Lightfoot. That demographic you're talking about, who is concerned about too much diversity, about things being too black, and about too much being done for black folks, they hate Kim Fox way more than they hate Lightfoot, in my personal opinion. Like I've had a couple, like even when I just mention her name on Twitter, like throw it out there, and I'm a nobody, right? I have like zero followers. I get a ton of comments back from this whole long list of white folks with their little flags trying to convince me that Kim Fox is the worst thing that has ever happened to the city. She still won. So to me, it kind of shows that demographic, while they may love to scream and love to talk, don't really hold much power in this city. Like the folks who hold power in this city are the ones who are concerned with business and money. That's why Rahm Emanuel was able to win as many times as he wanted to. And so the question is, do they feel like Lightfoot is good for business? And I'd argue that's what she really has to prove because, from my perspective, she's incompetent. It's one thing if you do things that I don't like you doing, right? Like, I can't stand Mitch McConnell. I can't stand the things he's done in Congress. There is no question the effectiveness of him as a conservative Republican leader. He gets things done. Horrible, evil things from my perspective, but he gets them done. Lightfoot, even the things that she wants to do, even the things that she's like, hey, I feel like this will be really good for the police force. I feel like this will be really good for the city. She can't pull together the support to actually get it done. And she keeps getting embarrassed left and right. If I own a business that really requires the full support of the mayor and her ability to get the city council to stand behind the objectives I need them to do, that's very disconcerting for me.
Mhm.
It's difficult to watch you fumble around and not being able to get these things across the table. And so I feel like that's the group that is really going to pull together and say, nah, it's got to be somebody else. These folks who hate diversity, I don't feel like they really have the power to put in the kind of candidate that they want to see. Because you talk about those Trump guys get no play in Chicago. Even Illinois in general, to be honest with you, you look at this Darren Bailey guy. This Darren Bailey guy looks like he's on his way to getting absolutely trounced because he keeps getting on the microphone and saying Trump like things. But it's very few people who can bottle up that Trump magic and just reproduce it. You can't just regurgitate the same things that Trump says. Like there's a whole aura and vibe that comes along with Trump that really nobody else is able to create, but they keep trying. And it's not working with that population that loves Trump so much.
Well, I mean, I think it's while it'll be similar, I think to them trying to go completely opposite and get Trump. It definitely wouldn't happen in the same exact way. And those people who are in power who will try to get somebody who will play ball with them, you know, they're gonna get someone who more than likely I'm just gonna say it looks like them,
Mhm.
and it's not enough of the black people who are in power. It's not enough Willie Wilsons there to get to get somebody in there that looks like them, right? I
Mhm.
just don't think it is, and I think they go the opposite route, and I think we get another Rahm Emanuel, we get another,
Yeah.
and it's gonna suck to me. Um, but I'm still not sure that it will suck as much as having Lightfoot in charge these past. I mean, what
Probably
can you
not.
do? So I
Probably
don't know,
not.
man. I'm torn, but as far as like I said, we talked about Frederick Collins before,
Mhm.
um, and now we're talking about Sophia King. If it came down to those two, Sophia King all the way has my vote.
No question about it.
Yeah.
No question about it. Yeah.
And
It'll
she has my vote over Lightfoot. I'm just going to say it. But,
Mhm.
now who I ultimately vote for at the time, the only thing I can promise you right now, it won't be Lightfoot. It's the only
Right.
thing I can promise you.
Right.
And it
Same
won't
here.
be Frederick Collins. If it comes down to those two, I see no real difference. I'm not voting for either one, honestly. I see no real difference.